Okay, I'm going to show you how I spin a bulky spindle to get a mosaic looking yarn. And by mosaic, I mean like Premier Mosaic, or there's a lot of other brands out there that have very mosaic-y looking yarns with lots of colors, very, very short color runs. Okay, so the way to do that now, I've got two Falkland wools, but you can use any kind of a fiber that you want, but roving is the way to go if you want to be tearing strips. So I wanted to make sure the colors were very different. So this is yellow, blue, a little yellow, orange, a really bright red, a kind of a brown and orange, and it has some green and blue. And then this one is a very, very deep purple. And then it's got kind of a dark burnt orange, more of a purple, and dark purples and oranges, and then it ends in a purple. So its colors are going to be very, very different. And so what it's going to do as I spin these together is make a lot of color variation. And so that's what I'm going to do. And so how we're going to do this, and the reason I like to do it with the strips when I'm doing these big bulky single yarns, is that it's a lot easier to do and get a really consistent bulky single. And then your yarn will be a bulky roving, and that's my favorite kind of yarn. And I've paid lots of money to get really nice natural fibers in those nice bulky single yarns. So this is actually more economical, and I get to do what I want with it. Now the Falkland wool that I'm using, Falkland is just a really nice wool to work with because it's easy to tear. It's easy to spin, even if you're doing drafting and spinning. It's just a really easy yarn to spin. It feels nice and soft, not as soft as merino, but it's still quite soft, and it's just a really nice fiber. Okay, so when I tear the strips, it's usually better to just go right down the middle, and so I'm just going right down the middle and I'm tearing them. Now that I've torn the first big one, it's usually better to start somewhere near the middle and work your way up on both sides. And you want to do this more slowly because you want to make sure that the yarn stays on the sides it's supposed to be on. There we go. And then tear it again. And again, I'm going to go in the middle. Carefully tear it down. It's actually pretty easy to do. And then I want it to be one thinner than this, so I'm going to take it. And now I got to be more careful when I do this last one, but just very slowly. There we go. And I made sure my two color pieces would be the same. And so sometimes that happens, and then I'm just going to make sure each one goes with who it's supposed to go with here. And there we go. There. And now if you, it's a nice size. It's quite even. If you find you're a little thicker here or there, you can take it and just gently pull because it's going to draft really easy, but they're close enough to me. I don't draft them very often unless there's a huge difference, and I'm just going to put it up there, and I'm going to get another piece here. This is the other piece here, and I'm just going to check it to make sure it's the same and it's not really thick somewhere. And it's pretty good. It just feels a little bit thicker right here. So I'm just going to pull it a little gently here, but I don't normally even do that. And then I'm going to put them here. And I'm going to get this one and get it down the middle. And very carefully work it up. Now, if one of your strips seems like it's a little thin, combine it with a little thicker strip of the other color. Just make sure that the overall yarn is about the same width and you're fine. Okay, so here we are. We got another strip. And then there's this strip. So there it is. Now to see how thick it's going to be, I just have to twist it like this, and I can see it's going to be more a worsted size than a bulky, and that's what I want because I'm going to be adding two pieces together. Okay, so I'm going to get the other color now. There it is. I'm going to go down the middle. And I'm going to look at it, and it already has a split here, so I'm going to go down the middle again because that's going to make it easy if it's naturally splitting there. But when it doesn't, we're going to just carefully go from the middle ourselves and take a piece off. And I'm not going exactly down the middle because this would have been too thick on this piece, so I'm just going slightly up the side to get the size piece I want. This roving was just a little thicker than the other roving. I'm going to look at it, and I couldn't separate it again, so I'm going to. Okay. And I just put them, I come up here and I put each new color beside the other color. Okay, and this one just seems a little bit thick. So this one I am going to just draft a little bit because I can see it's a little bit thick. I normally don't even bother doing that though. The Falkland will look a little thicker than it is because it's just really compact. It's full of a lot of air. Okay, so there we go, and I just need one more. But then I just go ahead and spin it, and I guess I could spin a couple for you. I'll start with the back ones because they're over my important buttons there, and I'll just put you on pause while I get a spin. Okay, here I am. I've got it attached to my spindle now, and it's so easy. You just spin. That's all there is to it. You don't have to draft or anything. You just spin it. So I'm just spinning it. Spinning, 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 and there we go. And there's your yarn. A nice bulky yarn. And I'm going to knit it up so you can see it looks like a mosaic and show you it knitted up a bit. So if you just hold, I'll just put you on pause and I will do that, and then I will show that to you. Okay, I've got it all spindled up, those strips that you saw. Very colorful. A little bit of fuzz there. So that's what it's looking like. It's going to be a nice bulky. And I'm going to spin some more, and then I'm going to go set it. And so how I set it so that it'll be a nice workable bulky single is I roll it up into a very soft loose configuration. You can do any way you want. You can wait till you have a lot before you set it, or you can set bits or whatever you want. And anyway, I soak it in warm water, and I don't usually soak mine for that long. If I'm doing it in little bits, which will be the full spindle, I usually just do a spindle at a time. And when I do that, I don't soak it for long because I'm going to go in and I'm going to squeeze it a bit to make sure it gets fully saturated, so I don't have to soak it for long. But if you have a really big piece, you might have to wait for a while. Anyway, I soak it in the warm water, and I usually make sure the water is fairly warm just so it doesn't feel like it's burning my hands. And then I squeeze it out, and then I put cold water in, and I soak it in cold. And what that does is the hot water opens it up a bit, but then the cold water will felt it slightly, and that'll help to keep your single stable. I really like the look of it. It starts to look a lot more like yarn that you just bought a bulky single, a wool bulky single from the store, ready to knit it or crochet it or however, whatever craft you do with that. So that's the way I like to do it. Set it in the cold water first, hot water first and warm water, and then set it into the cold water. Then I squeeze it out, then I hang it up to dry, and you can hang it out on whatever apparatus you have. I just hang them on coat hangers on doorknobs and things. So I end up with them hanging all over the house, but they're usually dry by the next day, so no problem. So I'm just going to finish spinning this, dry it, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you what it looks like knitted up. Okay? Okay, we will see you in a bit. Okay, so here it is. I've knitted it with just a simple stitch. I'm a loom knitter. I just knitted in my owl eye stitch, and it is like a mosaic. Look at that. Look at how the colors are. So I got exactly what I was trying to get, which is the mosaic look. Pretty happy with it. So you could see all the colors in here from both yarns. So here's what it looks like on the spindle. And here's what it looks like in a knitted piece. Now, if it had been a longer knitted piece, it still would have looked like this. It's because the color runs are so short. So there you go. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you decide that you'd like to do some work where you do roving strips and you turn them into bulky singles, that will later be a nice bulky yarn. That's a nice roving style, a 4, a 5, or a 6, or however, however thick or thin you want. You're fully in control of that. And it sure is fun to do, and you can get some really beautiful things that it looks nicer than a lot of the real expensive yarns out there. And so this is 100% Falkland wool. Okay, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, bye.